welcome everybody to the May meeting of the Commission on Aging Well. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And first I would like to introduce here Donna Stewart. She is a new member of the Commission, and she is replacing Don Ashfalt. And also Alderman Dave Hepst is here to, is Zooming with us and is replacing Dorothy Krause. So welcome. We appreciate your willingness to serve, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Mike?
Good morning. Thank you very much for the welcome. I'm looking forward to working with this commission. I've had the opportunity over my career to work with a number of boards guiding nonprofit agencies. However, in the past, those have focused more on food, hunger, homelessness, insecurities, as well as, I served on a board for a sheltered workshop for many, many years. But the work of this commission is very different than those boards that I've worked with in the past. So I'm very much looking forward to working with this team as we look at policy issues related to aging, and particularly aging well. So looking forward to meeting with the group. I am relatively new to Fitchburg, although I was born and raised in Rock County, spent my career serving at institutions around the state. I was with the University of Wisconsin-Stout for about 25 years as a professor on that campus, and then transitioned down to suburban Chicago for a number of years to serve as what we call provost, but in that state they call vice presidents of academic affairs for a couple of campuses down there. And then just a couple of years ago, my husband and I both retired, came back to this area to be close to family primarily, both combination of strong draw with family as well as the Madison area, the culture, and all that Madison has to offer. So we are thrilled to be back here. We're really pleased with our decision to locate specifically in Fitchburg. And again, really looking forward to learning more about the work of this commission.
Great, thank you. Does Don want to, or does Dave want to have a few words? Is he on?
So he's not here yet.
He's not here yet. Okay. Next pre-agenda item is the election of the chair of this commission. Jill, do you want to handle that?
Yeah, so in the
Okay, in the odd years that we have to re-elect a person to chair the Commission on Aging, and so that was what we need to do this morning, and then a vice chair. Jim has been the chair for the last several years. I did speak with him. He still is interested, but if any of you would like to nominate somebody else or step forward to be the chair, speak now, or raise your hand on Zoom, or no takers?
I nominate Jim.
All right, we got a nomination and a second. Anyone want to discuss his performance, past or present?
No discussion.
Perfect. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and
Got to ask for opposition.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyone opposed?
Okay.
All right, he is appointed. And then we do need a vice chair just in case Jim can't attend. And I think, Ruth, were you serving as our vice chair?
Yes.
Okay, so Ruth is serving. Would anyone like to renominate Ruth or step up to the plate?
I nominate Ruth.
All right, Ruth has been nominated. Ruth, are you willing to serve again as vice chair?
Yes.
All right, let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you both. You've done an excellent job. I'm glad to have you back. Perfect.
Thank you, Jill. The next agenda item, our first agenda item, is the approval of our minutes from our previous meeting. And for those of you who are new, Jill always sends out the minutes ahead of time for us to review. And generally speaking, we hope that everybody looks those minutes over, finds if there's any additions or corrections, and then when we come to the meeting, rather than spending time going over the entire minutes, we hope that you have done your homework. So are there any additions or corrections for the minutes? If not, do I hear a motion for approval?
I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved.
Who seconded that? Linda, was that you? It was Ruth? Okay, got it.
Okay. We have to kind of watch the screen over there to find, for those of us who are Zooming, so bear with us for any delays here as we're looking up and down and around.
Right.
Okay. Public appearances for non-agenda items. To my knowledge, there is nobody here in the council chambers. So we'll move on to our first agenda item, our number 4, which is the Senior Center Plan for Growth.
Okay, well, thanks. I hope all of you have this in front of you. If not, I've got it up here on the screen. In 2016, we looked to do a strategic plan again. It had been a while, and we felt it was really time to relook at, how we were moving forward. We completed it in 2017. With a lot of the senior housing coming on board, with the town of Madison being annexed soon, just with the changes, the hub going up off of Traceway there, I think it's a really great time to relook at this plan. Like so many strategic plans, you oftentimes have a lot of momentum afterwards. You're very excited, and then about a year and a half later, it goes on the shelf and you're done with it. So I feel like it's worth taking out again, relooking at it, and I'll go through it quickly. My intention here today isn't to hash out the plan and what we're going to do. My intention is to see if I can ignite some interest from a few commission members as well as the Friends of the Fitchburg Senior Center to serve on an ad hoc committee to go through this plan for growth, take a look at where we are now, take a look at the action steps and what did we accomplish, what didn't we accomplish, and then basically maybe add some more things. We did hire a consultant for this plan and worked with her for many months. It's a solid plan, but I think, again, based on the expansion of senior housing, our need for transportation, the growth in the hub, we're going to have to look at maybe adding some more things. So briefly, I'll just kind of go through the plan. Again, I don't want to hash it out. That would be for an ad hoc committee to do. We had, our plan was, as you can see there, that's our mission statement, which is what we kind of use as our guiding principle here. There's some statistics about older adult residents, and these statistics are just going to continue to go up about the population in Fitchburg. I don't think that's new news to anybody as the aging population grows. Why we did it, I kind of talked about that, is just kind of making sure we are meeting the needs of the older adults and the diverse needs at that, because as Fitchburg is very diverse. Our aging population, I guess not unlike a lot of other communities, it just really runs the gamut from the frail to the very independent, and the needs vary as well. Income levels vary quite a bit too. So looks like I backed up. Okay, so you can see we had a great group of people. We did try to engage people from the commission, from the Senior Advisory Council, a couple other city departments. as well as people from the county. And then we tried to pull in, like I said, some community members. So I felt really good about the diverse network we had that were willing to participate in this. I think we did a one-day training over at the library where we came up with answers to these questions that all of the stakeholders were asked. So the perception of the senior center, to me, that's a big question, and I think it really guides on how we market our services, who looks at them, why they look at the services, why they don't look at the services. The perception of us is very important in the community, and one to always kind of be aware of. Concerns, and then, most important things to be addressed. What came out of all of that was collaboration, communication, community funding, and transportation. Transportation really rears its head in everything we do, and I don't feel like we've made any progress at all. None. Maybe people would disagree, but I do not. So anyway, these were our challenges identified. These were some of the descriptions about why these are challenges with collaboration, language, different goals. I don't want to read through this. You guys can see this. And then we developed some action plans, action steps, which is what I kind of mentioned in the beginning. We used to meet. We looked at the action steps to see where we were. We got excited, and then kind of, you just kind of fizzle. You're like, things get busy. So we have them to look back on. Communication, again, the language, different cultures, technology, as you know, that's come first and foremost with the internet being a really important component of COVID or their lack of. So, and then we developed a few action steps to deal with communication, community funding, challenges that, it takes a lot to try to write grants, to manage grants. We're limited. We don't want to be reaching out to the businesses all the time, along with other departments. And then there are some action steps too. And then lastly, as I said, transportation, which all of these I don't think are any surprises to anybody. I think the biggest is the funding, and how do our needs sort of, meld into what the city needs, and this is addressing a whole citywide thing. That's why it's harder to take on transportation, because it's not just about us. It's about the city if we want to be cost effective and make sure the whole community is being served. So it's really important, I think, with the transportation as well as the hub, that we have a voice at the table when the city is looking at making decisions based on the transportation and what's going to happen with the hub. So there is some of the progress that we made. Adopt a senior program at Leopold. Elder Mentor, we tried to connect some older adults with young students at Boys and Girls Club. Communication, we did investigate. We did start offering Spanish bingo, so it was super popular. And everything I talk about, obviously, is pre-COVID. Community funding, actually, we did do a grant to the United Way. We did get that grant, and that volunteer visiting nurse program has really morphed into something even bigger and better. And so when I talk about our collaboration with the Edgewood nursing students, that really came out of this grant. As we did this program, we had more ideas. We learned more about how we can meet people's needs. So I guess I can feel pretty successful that really did propel us to a bigger program. And then the transportation, which I'm proud to say we did. That was for our bingo, Hispanic bingo. We needed to get everybody here at the same time, which our county bus could not do. So we collaborated with the Boys and Girls Club because they have a van and they transport kids to school in the morning. They pick them up in the afternoon, but those vans are idle between like 10 and 2, which was perfect time for us. And so that has been a fantastic partnership, and we hope to start that up in the fall again. So really, we haven't done too bad, but I think, moving forward, some of our needs are changing a little bit. And so this is kind of what we were supposed to do, and this is kind of what we're doing now, is looking back at those action steps, looking back at those goals, and determining what do we do now? How do we keep moving forward? So I presented this same request to the Friends, and I did have one person come forward who's very interested. She's got a lot of strategic planning experience with Home Health United and some other nonprofits, so I'm really happy to have her volunteer. So you don't have to tell me at this moment on camera or anything, but please email me. I don't want to take up a lot of people's time, but I do feel that it's valuable to have a few of you at the table. I suspect we'll meet about once a month, and then we'll do homework kind of in between. And if it looks like we need to be more often, we can do that as well. The more the merrier, because our group is small enough. Even if we had a few more friends and every commission member wanted to participate, I think that's important. And my goal would be, as life moves along quickly, but slowly, I think if we have something, say early fall, something a little bit more tangent that we can then present. So anyway, that is why I put that on the agenda today, because I do think the time is right. As this community is growing, I just learned about another senior development. They're doing actually an informational meeting at McKee Park. They're looking at 2 lots over there for senior housing, independent and assisted living. And it just really made me pause to think, in five years or more, things are really hopping. They're hopping now. And once we get Town of Madison, we've got to have a plan to address the needs and how we're going to reach people, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my spiel about the plan for growth. So again, just email me, and then we'll kind of throw out some meeting dates and times and see where we go from there. Any questions?
Okay, thanks, Jill. Next is a report from the Senior Center Friends. Is Judith here?
Yeah, she's online.
Okay.
Let's see. The biggest thing that we had going on in April was the pancake breakfast plus. And we think it was successful in that quite a few people showed up at Hy-Vee. In fact, they sort of overwhelmed the kitchen, which we had told them to be prepared, but maybe they weren't quite as prepared as they could have been. We don't have the numbers yet of what we actually are going to receive for our share of the profits from that breakfast. So I can't tell you that. We also had the program with Hy-Vee last month of people that bought the red bags at Hy-Vee. We were to get a share of that. And again, we don't know.
Judith, they sent me an email. We made the Friends made $12.
Okay. Not a great sum.
That's okay.
We spent $356 on special needs and the flowers for the front entrance. And I think that's about it for my report.
Okay, any questions for Judith? Okay, let's move on to the Area Agency on Aging. And Don was our representative for that.
Right, so I will probably take that off the agenda now. I didn't even think about that, as we don't have that representation. Okay. Yeah, he still sits on the Area Agency on Aging, which is nice. And we do have another Friends Board member that sits on a county nutrition committee meeting. So I'm glad to still have representation from Fitchburg at the county level.
Okay. Report from the director, Jill.
All right. Let's see. So I was just saying before we went live that we opened this week. It was a soft opening. And we kind of handpicked programs that we felt we could manage safely. We required advance registration for the program so we can make sure that whatever they were, from Jim's men group to aerobics upstairs, Tai Chi, that we could keep that social distancing. And I would say it's gone really, really well. We haven't had, maybe just a few small issues with saying, don't forget to put your mask on, or you didn't even bring a mask. But we have them at the front desk. But no real issues at all. I've just been pleasantly surprised at how happy we as a staff are to see everybody back, because it's been a long year of quietness, and I had a little reservation about everybody coming back and people coming in my office, and just like, you want to ease into that. So, but we saw just the happiness of everybody here, and I said it almost felt like no time had passed. The only reminder was you can't, you got your mask on. Even ukulele came back. They went up, they taped out everything, they measured everything, and there was like 18 people this week. Is this our second week open? I don't even know now. But they had more this week, so it must be. Anyway, it's been great, and I feel good about it. It'll take some time. We're trying to get in the routine of cleaning after people, and we've had lots of calls about people saying, well, I'm vaccinated, can I come now? And I said, you can come whether you're vaccinated or not. We are not allowed to ask anybody. We are not allowed to require vaccinations of anybody. But I understand that people want to know. And so we've had different discussions about how we go about that. Like our massage therapists, they're contracted, they're independent contractors. They rent a room. If they want to require that, that's on them. They can ask for that vaccination card. We cannot. We can let people know you may be asked for your card. Different facilitators of different groups. You can ask people. They don't have to tell you, but you can't tell them that they can't come if they're not vaccinated. Jim's men's group, just so thinking, or, just trying to accommodate everybody, they met at McKee Park rather than meeting inside. So that could accommodate everybody, vaccinated or not. And so it's just kind of looking at different situations where we can make sure that we're not alienating anyone. We're not judging anyone by whether they're vaccinated or not. But it is kind of funny because people come in, I'm vaccinated. And I'm like, great. I'm not, you don't have to tell me. But, people just have a comfort level. So I think it will just get better. We're looking at adding, more programs back in June. And then hopefully by July, we'll kind of be up in full swing. Again, we kind of watch the county. If they lift their mandates and more people can come, we just follow along. That's what the city is following along with as well. So anyway, I feel good about it. It feels good to it just feels a little normal, and that's a good thing.
Question, Jill. For the meals, on the congregate meals in the building, I know Tuesday when I worked, we had a very small group. But I'm just wondering, are we trying, this transition, what is your projection as far as when we're going to be up to full throttle on
the meals?
On the meals.
Yeah.
On site.
It's really difficult because the meal program, we're not advertising congregate meals yet because we don't want just a lot of people coming in right now for meals. And you can see your mask is off, a couple guys drinking coffee, their mask is off. They're sitting over here. They probably should be 1 more foot apart. But we're trying. There's just some common sense about, put your mask back on. But some of them are just, it's like the county. If you're eating at a restaurant, you take your mask off. That's kind of what we're following. But then trying to remind, at least have it close and put it back on if you're not eating. But it's going to take a lot of reminders. But the problem with the meal program, even though we're just bringing 2 people back per day, 90% of those people need county transportation. We cannot put more than 2 people on the bus at a time. So it's really, it's a really hard thing to balance because most of our lunch people came over on the bus. We would bring between 12 and 17 people every single day on the bus. They need the transportation. We can't run a meal site with, Transit Solutions dropping people off at 9 and then we feed them at 9:30 and then we get the next group at 10, you know what I mean? And so it's really contingent on Dane County and what the bus provider says, can they put more on a bus if Dane County loosens those regulations? So we have a meeting with the county on Tuesday to discuss, what can we do? Can we do any more? We're still using our county transportation provider to deliver meals, which is another, barrier to our increasing people coming over, because when they drop, they're picking up 2 people now, they drop them off, they pick up the home delivered meals, they go and deliver them for us, and then they come back and take our people home. So as we bring more people in, they're not going to be able to deliver meals, and we're still trying to get meal drivers. So it's all these like puzzle pieces that are moving, and then you think they fit together and they don't. So the meal program, Jim, I feel like that's going to be almost last, because I don't know how we're going to get our, the majority of our people that needed transportation here at the same time to eat. So that's kind of what that looks like. Okay. So anyway, stay tuned, I guess. Every 2 weeks, the county puts out new mandates. And so hopefully that as more people are vaccinated, we'll be able to even offer more. Let's see. I mentioned the Edgewood students. We finished with them last week. It was really nice to have the students. It was a little more challenging, but thanks to many of you that signed up for their final presentation about social isolation. We finished with our social work intern, who was a real asset this year. Sorry to see him go. And then we are going to continue with our 2 medical students. I just work with them via Zoom. They're doing some research right now for me called Deaths by Despair. I'm on a Dane County task force where they're trying to reduce suicide by opioids, alcoholism, social isolation, that sort of thing. So they asked me to do a webinar this fall, and I said no, and then they said please, and then I said I don't really have time, and then so the med students are willing to do anything, and so they're doing a lot of research and learning a lot about suicides in older adults, and so they're helping me with that. And then in the late summer, early fall, they're going to do a series of health presentations suggested by one of our board members from the Friends about ears, nose, and throat, and just an educational series. So I'm looking forward to that. Little John's Drive-By. Mandy's working with Little John's. If you saw that in the newsletter, it is next Wednesday from 12 to 1. Little John's has been partnering with us to offer supplemental meals to our home delivered meal program. So when we were not delivering on Wednesdays, people were able to get an extra meal from Little John's. Again, they are not a county approved provider, although we did talk to, they're not a contracted provider through the county, but we did get the okay from the county to hand out these meals. So they come pre-packaged, they're cold, they're in tin. So for an older adult, they would have to put it on a plate to microwave it. Some older adults don't want to do that. But anyway, Little John's, for some of you that don't know, is a nonprofit here in Fitchburg, developed by Dave Heidi, who is the chef of Liliana's, and they use food right now from Metcalf's that might go into the garbage, stuff that's best sell-by dates. It's not old, expired food. And anyway, the meals have been fantastic. So kind of in exchange to support Little John's, we're doing a drive-by next Wednesday. And if people want to make a donation, they can. All the donations will go back to Little John's. They're a really great organization. Let's see, the translation service is up and running, and we've used it a couple times, and that's really exciting to me because it was part of our strategic plan. Language barrier is a big deal. None of us speak Spanish, and that's the only language we're focusing on right now. We were able to use it for a client that does regularly get meals, and he wasn't home that day. And so we could use the translation service to talk to him. Now, before this, we would have to reach out to Newbridge was the only one that had Spanish-speaking case managers through their cultural diversity program. So we would always have to go to them to have them call the client, then they call us back. Now we were able to call the client. Well, he had moved. We got all that information. So anyway, it was. We'll be reaching out to all of our Hispanic-speaking clients, letting them know that we have this service. And this service really came about because of our student intern, Eric Miller, who does speak Spanish. That was kind of his main project at the end of the semester, was to really increase the outreach to our Hispanic population, and he's done an excellent job working with the city's neighborhood navigators to go into these neighborhoods and drop off flyers and just try to promote senior center services. So the credit goes to him for researching and helping us get this translation service up and running. Let's see, Judith had mentioned the Hy-Vee recycling bag, the program for the bag recycling. One of our younger high school volunteers from Verona had offered to kind of do this plastic bag recycling program for April because it was, Earth Day, so we made it Earth Month, and we took in everybody's plastic bags and paper bags. Well, then we noticed that the city of Fitchburg stopped taking plastic bags like middle of April. So our foyer is just full of bags. So it's great. So people are dropping them off. I think you used to be able to, I don't live in Fitchburg, where you could put all your plastic bags in a small plastic bag and then put it in your recycling, but they're not accepting that anymore. So we are going to continue the bag recycling program. And our volunteer is willing to come every week and then take those bags to be recycled. So that's kind of nice. And then the Friends, to support people to come in and drop off their bags, they were going to buy the recycle bags for groceries, the cloth ones, and Hy-Vee had them for sale. And that's their partnership. If you buy a bag from them that says, "Does this bag make my heart look big?" We got, I think, $1 or $2 from the sale. So anyway, we made $12. Anyway, it really wasn't a lot of work, so it's fine. Meals on Wheels drivers, as I said, we did start driving or delivering meals on Wednesdays now, starting in May, but we were not able to accommodate all 6 routes because we need 6 drivers every single day to drive now. Since COVID hit, we have added a lot more people to our home delivered meal list. And until we can get most of those people back here for lunch, we're still home delivering. And even if we get a lot of people back here for lunch, I'm not sure our routes, maybe we'll go down to 5 routes. So anyway, I think we're doing 4 of the 6 routes on Wednesdays, so we're still looking for home delivered meal drivers for Wednesdays as well as for sub days. On the legislative side, I attended the virtual Aging Advocacy Day yesterday, where you get to meet with legislators and talk about issues that impact older adults and legislation that we're hoping to push forward. The topics that we discussed, I talked about caregiving. There's money being proposed for caregiving. Transportation was a big one, housing, and kind of infrastructure. Altogether, roads, transportation, housing, broadband, that kind of stuff, and then healthcare costs. So it's people, I think they said they had about 200 people across the state participate, and everybody had an opportunity. Every Senate district was represented, so that's pretty exciting. Generally, we're in person at the Capitol, and we get about 300 people, but I know the organizers of the event were really happy with how many people signed up for the virtual, so it was pretty nice to do. Let's see. I'll talk about that. I sent you all an opportunity to attend a Healthy Aging Age of COVID. This is put on by the Wisconsin Institute for Healthy Aging. And I talked to finance because I think there's a lot of good information in here, and it really kind of ties in nicely right now with our strategic plan. So I talked to finance if I could use some of my training budget to pay for commission members to attend. It's virtual, June 3rd and 4th. And June 3rd, it's only in the afternoon, and then June 4th is all day. And I know Jim expressed interest, and he brought up a good point. If we have more than one commission member, maybe we select the breakout sessions so we're all not attending the same ones and we can learn from them. So I can still sign up people all next week because we are a nonprofit organization. We get a discount, so we didn't have to make the sign-up deadline for the early bird special or whatever. So let me know if you need this brochure again. I will send it to you. And then those of you that want to attend, I will register you. I would just send forward your email address, And then you'll get the information that you need once you're registered. And then as I get people interested, we can decide who's going to attend what. So you don't really even have to commit to the whole day either, if there's just a few things you want to attend. But the main speakers are really good too. So there's that. And let's see, we'll be starting to work on Dane County funding for 2022. That's always a big process to try to advocate for more case management funding. The formula will change for us because we're annexing town of Madison, so hopefully our funding will increase. I'm doing a lot of work on updating job descriptions, which I'm like, why did I tackle that starting this month? Why didn't I tackle that when nobody was here? I don't know. You're like, once people came back, I panicked. Why didn't I just deal with that when nobody was in the office? But somehow we felt really busy. So that is, I think, everything that I have. So if anybody has questions, it's a lot of talking. Everybody good at home? Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Jill.
Yeah.
Very informative. Are there any announcements that anybody has? If not, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Meeting adjourned.